I tagged the fuck.
Well, you'll never know the heartache of looking a grown man in the eye, and he asks, am I gonna make it? And you've got to lie. Well, they call me Doc, but I ain't got no degree. When shit hits the fan, they're calling for me. From bluegrass Kentucky, with red blood on my hands, nobody calls me hero except for my friends. Yeah, they call me Doc.
Good evening, brothers and sisters and American patriots. Welcome to another episode, a live episode of Sick Call with Doc Season 3. Supposed to be mid-season, but we're a little late, but we're here for you. I'm your host, Rod Doc Walbeck. As always, your co-host, Joe Misfit Glenn. The man in the lives, up front and face personal, Brian Devil Dog Roof. Special co-host tonight, Joe Misfit Glenn's battle buddy, United States Army combat veteran Eric Moon, who's been on our show before. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother.
And you guys been hanging out all week, man. That's unset. That's totally unset, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, I had another brother here, Keith Ingram. He just left this morning. We had like 4 or 5 days just hanging out, reminiscing, raising hell, all that good shit. It was great, man. It's been a hell of a week. Yeah.
That's awesome. We want to welcome all of our listeners that are stopping by tonight. I tagged a bunch of people. And before we get started, the first thing we want to talk about is Joe and I and Brian, and Eric, we got a special gift going out tonight for those who stick around and listen to us all the way through. If you hang out till the end and you do just a couple little things for me, you got a shot at a very kick-ass special gift. All right, so the first thing you got to do right now, if you want to get a special gift, you got to tag 2 people and tell them, come on over and check this out. If you do that, you're step 1. All right, there you go. Special
Make
cool
it happen,
gift.
y'all.
Make it happen. Let's get this show going. And and if you guys were tuning in and you saw us mess up, I totally screwed that up. So bear with us. We like to make mistakes here and there. At least I do.
I do all the time, every day.
Yeah, and you know what, man? This is a rare occasion, though. You guys are catching this live. This is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions about the show, up and coming things. We'll probably chat a little bit about what the future looks like for Sick Call with Doc and all that good stuff. But this is an opportunity for anybody flood the comment section up and ask away, or let's get a conversation going.
Please, please and thank you. Let's make tonight about the listeners who show up all the time. We are trying to provide, we are trying to help eradicate veteran suicide, but at the same time, we're trying to educate our veterans in holistic medicines and holistic things that they can do, get off the couch and make a better life for themselves. So we are trying to start bringing on other kinds of guests besides our veterans who tell their story and tell everybody how cannabis has saved their life or created miracles for them. So we're trying to bring in like auxiliary people who are helping veterans, like Eric Moon, who's got the equestrian training. There's people out there who help veterans get battle buddy dogs. There's people out there. There's so many. I always hear there's nothing for the veterans, dude. Since I've been doing this, there are so many things out there for veterans that if they just flick the channels, they can find so many great things that could help them. There's a lot of opportunities out there to get our veterans off the couch and back into life.
there's probably far more nonprofits out there willing to help brothers and sisters out there than there are governmental type programs. So if you're saying that there's no programs out there, that you might be right in terms of the government programs, but there are a lot of nonprofits, and I will say that, through the course of doing podcasting, you do start to learn about the good ones and the bad ones, the ones out there that are really doing the right things, and the other ones out there that are just trying to take, your money and aren't really doing anything, have nothing to do with their mission in general. And so that's the one thing that we do got to be careful as you look through them. But there are definitely different types of nonprofits out there, anywhere from reading books to riding horses to hunting, jumping out of planes. You name it, there's something out there. And if there isn't something out there, you have the opportunity to start it yourself.
Yeah, you can go fishing, you can go hunting. They got all kinds of cool, like just little pockets of vets getting together and doing stuff together, shooting shit and talking shit. You know what I mean?
And yeah, even the annual events that happen, like Hero Stock is a big one, where it gives an opportunity to build up that camaraderie again and hang out with a whole bunch of brothers and sisters, all like-minded, and have a great time listening to some great music and experiencing a lot of nonprofits out there. So you just part of it is really a lot of veterans like to disconnect, and they like to so they don't really keep their ear to the ground no more, and they're not really aware of all the things out there.
Right. Once
you start to look, you just really start to uncover more and more and more. I'm like, holy shit, there's so much out there. Right. Like I said, the list is long.
There's guys out there that are veterans that started companies, 501c or not, where they just have these kick-ass freaking T-shirts, and they sell their T-shirts, and a piece of the profit goes to homeless veterans, or you name it. They give it away to all kinds of veteran stuff. So I mean, there's lots of people out there trying to help veterans, and I'm gonna pose it to our listeners. If you're tired of hearing the 22 a day, I'm challenging you to get up off your fucking ass and do something to help your brothers and sisters, guys. Yep. We're doing it. You can do it. You just got to get out of your little, your catacomb, man, and go help, man. It makes you feel so much. Joe, how much when you do a podcast, how much better do you feel?
Man, at the end, I feel really good, provided we have a little interaction, and I know that we at least had been heard. That makes me feel good, but I know that people watch it afterwards, and so to me, man, as long as one person, is seeing it and maybe following along, just maybe keeping them busy for an hour. If it's just that's good shit for me. But I wanted to kind of caveat onto what you said, Rod, as far as getting off your ass and going and doing stuff and whatnot. But go reach out to another veteran, just one. You ain't got to reach out to 20 and be that kind of. Just reach out to one. If we all reach out to one, damn, don't you think we'd make it happen? That's not too much to ask, help your brother. That's right. Brother, a sister.
Sick Call with Doc was created because of us reaching out to other veterans in the veteran cannabis world on Facebook. And that's how this whole thing got started. I wanted to find my fellow brothers and sisters, Joe, TJ Durkin from the BCC, Paul Rand from the Patriots Home Vets, Mike and Rachel and Salvatore from Vets Grover Vets. We've met so many veterans out there trying to help other veterans, and so many veterans have come onto our podcast to tell their stories. Sicko with Doc has to evolve. We have to do more than what we're doing. We have to reach more people. It's a podcast, guys. The numbers are the numbers, and it's a stupid game. I was Atari, and now we're podcasting. You know what I mean? Like, so we need the numbers. So we're going to talk about creating a subscription. We're going to talk about Sick Call with Doc T-shirts and ball caps, and using that money to get better equipment, 501c possible. We're going to find a way, guys, to expand Sick Call with Doc and to reach more veterans, We got to stop the suicide. Pretty soon, we're just going to run out of veterans. Either
willing
stop the suicide or we'll all be gone soon. We can't do that. We can't do that. We can't all be gone. I'll tell you a story, a quick story from last night. I watched an interview. Max, he's like a kid from Russia. He's come to America. He's doing Max Feldman. Anyway, he's got his own podcast. He brought on Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas is a world-renowned boxing coach champion. And he worked under Cus D'Amato and was tutelaged under him. And the two of them found Mike Tyson. Okay? So, yeah, Teddy was a boxer, but Cus knew that he was never going to be a champion. But he knew he was a great teacher. So he brought him in and mentored him to be a great teacher and teaching the art of pugilism. And the one thing that Cus, he was an old guy when this all happened. He was on his way out. He was just one last champ he was looking for. And he said to Tyson, "Why are you doing this?" And Cus said, "Because the truth is, you don't get to stop living."
Yeah.
Hey, brothers and sisters, you don't get to stop living. It's not an option here. You have every vet that's been on, Eric, you can even vouch for this. Every veteran who's come on has had something so special about them that through cannabis and psilocybin and camaraderie with other veterans has brought their shine out, and they're doing crazy. Eric, what was it like after the show? How did you feel coming on and talking about your stuff? How did you feel afterwards, and what has it done, if anything, since?
Feel relieved, feel like I'm helping other people, to get that story off your chest and put it out there for other people to hear. And yeah, like I said, if I can help and I do the same thing with the horse program. If I can help just one person from being a statistic, then I'm way ahead of the program and we're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
And just think that if each of us had that kind of goal in mind to save one other brother or sister, how many we could save? You know what I mean? Just have that mission in mind. It only takes us to save one each, and we can save a shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Can anybody see any comments? I can't see any comments, man.
Yeah, we just no one's commenting. I mean, I don't think anybody's used to us being live, but we are live. We are real.
Yeah.
And
you
guys can hit us in.
We had Lori come
section.
in right in the beginning.
Yeah,
Lori came in right in the beginning. Hey, Booger.
Yep.
We was chatting, so I couldn't spit it out, but yeah, that was it though.
Joe and I have a rule when we tape podcasts, we don't medicate. But no one said nothing about live. Hit him if you got it. Smoking lab's lit.
That's what's up.
And I'm just acting like the producer all the time. I just do producer like things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. See, we got it's live.
Hell yeah.
Well,
but,
man, people see it later. But if you come on and you stick with us to the end, you're in for an excellent chance for an excellent gift, Cal. You're gonna be.
Even the numbers that are out there, right? And the numbers are subjective. Whenever you go look at VA numbers or anything like that, it's very subjective because there's no fucking way they're capturing everybody, and there's no way that everything's being categorized correctly, especially when it comes to suicide. You don't know if a dude gets in his car fucking butt ass drunk because he's having a shit day and drives his car right into a pole. And he set out to kill himself, but he died because he was DUI. So they'll never lump that as, suicide or anything of that kind of such.
Yeah.
So, but some of the numbers that I was looking at, cause I've been going through these kind of recently on, one of the shows I have, and it was the leading cause of death for people under the age of 45. I mean, fuck, man, 45. People have a long life to live still, and when I heard that they were taking their life at that young, that's really sad to see. And a lot of that is, okay, so I'm 44. So what that goes to show me is a lot of these people are from the OIF, OEF, and, all from that era. And they're still out there taking their own lives. And we're still giving the enemy numbers by doing this shit.
Yes, and I did some extra research just recently because to look at the Vietnam vet thing, because if there's any two wars or conflicts that kind of two different worlds, two different places, but it's that same, like we didn't know what we're getting ourselves into kind of thing, right? Vietnam veterans, we lost 58,000 plus on the wall to battle on the battlefield. We lost 58,000. Since the 70s to now, we've lost 94,000 Vietnam vets to fucking suicide. We've lost 54,000. We lost 7,500 or so brothers and sisters during Afghanistan and Iraq. 7,500. 58,000 Vietnam, 7,500 for Afghan and Iraq. We've lost as many people as we have on the Vietnam Wall. 54 at least thousand.
What up, Peter? Welcome in, brother.
It's insane. So guess what? So for Vietnam, we've lost a grand total of 150 some thousand of us. 94,000 to suicide, 58,000 on the wall in battle. In Iraq and Afghanistan, guys, all my boys like you guys, they're dropping like flies. It's so crazy, insane to think about this. We got to help. We got to find a way. So whatever we got to do with Sick Hallway Doc, if we got to promote and advertise more and bring on different guests, we got a few cool guests coming up that some of them aren't veterans, but they do things for veterans. So we need to make sure we bring that to our listeners so that it's not just Sick Hallway Doc. There's people with dogs, people with horses. There's people that do this and that and the other thing. We're gonna find them. We're gonna bring them on to help you guys. No, killing yourselves.
I'd like to ask everybody a question, including the viewers out there. All right, and I don't think there's any one real answer here. I just would like to hear where your mind is on this, and it doesn't have to be a long drawn out answer. It can be quick, but what do you think the leading cause is for our brothers and sisters taking their own lives? Why do you think that's the problem? Go ahead, Joe. We'll go ahead, Joe. Oh, I don't hear Joe.
Can't hear you, brother.
How about now?
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Computer does whatever the hell it wants. Anyway, so I'd like to say I think that it's that feeling of hopelessness, and nobody gives a fuck. Right? So what we do, what we have done on every one of our episodes is that we tell you that we care. And I mean it. I mean it. I give a damn. Okay. I think that people need to believe that, but it's that sense of hopelessness and nobody gives a shit. I'm alone. Right. And I'm no longer that person that I used to be or whatever, man. No, you're even better. You've broken out of the cocoon and now you got your wings, man. Start being beautiful. You don't have to be that warrior anymore. Relax, but I really think it's that sense of nowhere to go, nothing, in the future. I don't want to do anything or nothing sounds cool.
Hopeless and no help for hope.
Yeah.
Eric, what about you? What's your thought?
I would have to go more with the things that you've done and seen, the demons. There's way too many people out there that think the only way to get rid of them demons is to, blow them out of your head, basically. I mean, it's not a really good choice of words there, but that's just the way it is.
It's exactly how it goes down.
And too many guys just don't. That's their only way they know to get rid of them demons out of their head. Sad to say, because that's not the only way. But
yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. What about you?
Well, I'm going to have to step out and try to see it through a combat veteran's eyes. I can only imagine that they come home. The military does nothing to help you go from being a gunner in a helicopter, and 3 days later you're at your mom's door having oatmeal in the morning with her. The transition is a complete clusterfuck. We used to say in the Navy, right? So you get out, and here's what you find. You go back to, let's say you're an 18-year-old, you come back at 22, right? All the kids that went to college, they're gone, but in your hometown, you got the boys that did, and that's some of those were your friends. You know what I mean? So you come back to your friends, they ain't got a fucking clue about life or anything else, right? So your boys don't fucking understand you. You don't understand them. You can't believe how fucking immature they still are, right? Your parents don't get it because they weren't in war. You were. So they don't understand you and they don't know how to help you. So they're frustrated. You're frustrated, right? You're back in a place you don't even recognize anymore. No one understands you. You start to isolate. The isolation begets the alcohol, begets the pills, begets the cocaine and the spiraling and the cops and the jail. And then all of a sudden you're like, fuck this. Boom, it's over. Why would, there's a country song by that young kid, McCready kid. He has a song about suicide, and in there it says, how do you get that lonely? That you believe what's out there is better than what you have here. And then everybody, after you're gone, everybody here who loved you, I didn't see the signs. Right. Open your eyes. But I think they're frustrated. I think that everything, when you get out, if you're a combat vet and you've had to downrange stuff, no one gets it. No one gets you. No one gets. And the other thing, guilt, survivor's guilt. We've saw on the show, Joe. I've talked to other veterans. Survivor's guilt is a huge piece, and the hopelessness of why our veterans are killing themselves.
Yeah.
Why am I home in this disaster? And all my boys are gone. Couldn't imagine that, bro. Couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I think for me personally, my thought is we're not really ever trained to learn how to deal with emotions, and we're not trained how we're trained to take care of the mission and not deal with emotions, right? And we got to fucking carry on, move forward. We cannot keep thinking about what's behind us and what already happened.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get out and you remove yourself out of the situation, and now you're back in a different environment. Now you're left to deal with all this shit you suppressed, and some of us just ain't good at dealing with that at all, right? So now you got all kinds of shit going on. Then you throw a little bit of this and a little bit of that on it, and now you're just discombobulated, and now you're really losing your bearings and your cool, and you don't know how to fucking. You don't know how to even be a part of, society anymore. Sometimes you don't even feel like you fit in. You can't go and hang out with your loved ones, your friends, your family. You feel like you're being judged. You got a little bit of a time limit on you. You're going to go like, should I go 2-3 hours? That's tops for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uncle Joe's been pretty
2 hours for friends, 3 hours for family. You know what I mean? Like, hey, shit, I'm watching that clock. But I think that we are just taught to suppress so much, and as men, we've all been taught that all our life. So you're just dealing with all this shit that's suppressed. Then you want to try to have a family. Then you want to go try to have a job. Then you want to try to make all that shit make sense when you have all this other stuff that you never made sense of. So that's the other part. We're dealing with the brain, and the brain is not alike. Your brain is not like my brain. His brain isn't like your brain. We don't all process shit the same. So all we could ever really do is offer up each other tools and advice and help and hope, right? That could get better. Is it going to be a fix for them? Is what worked for me going to work for you? Not necessarily.
No.
but it may also help you get through that process in that time. I just think that we all got to somehow do better with processing the shit that has happened to us, or the things that we've dealt with, and the things that we've been told to suppress.
Yeah.
And just let him know, hey, it's okay not to be okay, man. We got to, and like Peter just said, acceptance. Right. And that acceptance goes all the way. It's a full circle. You got to accept yourself. You got to accept others. The acceptance is a two-way street.
Also,
I was going to talk about.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to talk about. I'm sitting here thinking about, because for me, suicide, ending my own life, never been an option for me. Right. I've had personal experiences with buddies doing it next to me, that kind of shit, and I've never accepted that would be something that I would do. Right. Sure. And so it's hard for me to say what would cause it, but I started thinking about things that if I didn't have them, I may have thought that way. And it went to my family.
Yes.
My acceptance
support system
by my family. When I was
Thank you, Lori.
I was a different dude. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, honey. I tell her all the time, I was a different guy, man. I wanted to hurt things all the time. It didn't matter. Raise an eyebrow to me and we going, I promise, and so to be accepted, even though I was an animal, that helped calm me down. I didn't have to be that animal for survival anymore. Right. I realized I'm amongst friends and family and loved ones.
Hyper vigilant all the time.
Yeah. And so, then my family started acting with me instead of, if I couldn't necessarily have my back up against the wall, they were looking behind me, letting me know you're good, with their hand on my shoulder. As we looked at each other, they were looking behind me and I was looking behind them. We worked as a team. Right. But they were willing to do this. So if I didn't have that acceptance from my loved ones, the people I did all this shit for, that may be a lost cause,
And it's good that you had someone that's still held on to you, right? Because we tend to turn people away from us by, sometimes the black and white and no gray area is not kosher with a lot of people, right? No. They a lot of folks want to have all that in between, and we're more like, fuck that shit, fuck him,
Mm-hmm.
we just we kind of can slaughter someone real quick and not really. I know I've said things in front of my wife and she's just like, whoa. Yeah. I'm just like, hey, I didn't mean no. I mean, like me and my buddy, who my Marine buddy, who we've been all over the place. When we talk to each other, she's just like, wow. And I'm just like, oh man, this isn't serious. This is just us talking to each other,
Mm-hmm.
So people don't know how to handle a lot of us. Right. Yeah. And that can be a turnoff. And
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, that's probably why the divorce rate is extremely high in veterans and in military members in general.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain part of us that a lot of people aren't ready for or used to, because there's a small percentage that ever gets that kind of training.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And while you guys talk, I get like 25 things I want to say in my head, and then when you're like, I smoked that weed, so. Let me ask you guys this. Have any of you men who've been in combat lost to suicide anybody that you were somewhat nearly or very much close to suicide once they were back?
Not yet. Not, I mean,
mine didn't wait.
And I don't.
Both you guys are shaking your head over there, Joe and Eric.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. What would you say to that person that you lost if you had a second chance to say it? That way our listeners can hear that and go, I see my brother in trouble. I need to say this to them. What would you say to stop it from happening if you could? I know it's a tough question, but what would you say?
First and foremost, it's not worth it. Second of all, the biggest thing I see is what's it going to do to your friends and family? Because that's who really suffers in the end,
mm-hmm.
is your friends and family. You know, you think you're getting the easy way out, but you don't realize what you're doing to all your family and your support system, you know, all your friends. I mean, because now you've just made all your friends think, what could have I done different to prevent this? You know, why did I fail? You know, now you have other people thinking they failed.
I've been pretty blessed to not experience it, but I've watched a lot of friends experience it and see how affected they are, you know, and then that's the part that kills me is how affected people are, even extended, really extended. And, you know, and for me, even the number or hearing my buddy or whoever tell me that this just happened, because it literally just happened. You know, Marie, who's a co-host kind of on my coffee talk with Brian right now, she's an Army veteran. She just lost a sister a week ago, took her own life, battle buddy. You know, so the numbers still just keep on coming, and it affects people we know all the time in our little small community. Because I mean, you know, as big of a community is, it's very small. You know what I mean? And so whenever I don't even have to know you personally, just hearing that someone decided to end it, it makes me sad. And then every time they have kids, they have a wife, they got mom, dad still that are left to carry these broken pieces.
So a family member who's sitting back and our veteran comes home, right? And okay, let's just make it fictitious. My little brother comes back from Iraq, right? I never served at all. And they begin to isolate because we can't understand him. He can't understand us anymore. You know, like, so he's isolating and we're like, okay, there's still hope because he's still here. So me as a brother, I'm losing my little brother in my mind temporarily because he's going through it, right? And then I lose him forever. That must be how the family feels and the friends feel of those people who committed suicide after coming home. I lost you temporarily, but I still had hope, and then you took the last bit of hope away.
And I hate to say this too, and you know, because but I imagine how many family members or even best friends or whoever are just left with a feeling of guilt. Like maybe they didn't answer that person's call one day. Maybe they missed a couple messages. They didn't get right back to them. You know, maybe these kind of things happen, you know, because it happens all the time. And then you start to say, what if? You know, because then all those questions start to come at you and bombard the shit out of you.
You know, I wanted to put mine in on that. It took me a minute to think of this. This is a really touchy subject for me. Brian, when I was on your podcast, I think I had mentioned this. My battle buddy in Haiti, while we were pulling guard at the what was that, the mansion there?
Yeah, President Aristide's Palace.
Yeah, President Aristide's Palace. I was on guard. He relieved me. And we were sitting there for a minute. He was talking to me about his wife and stuff like that. And she was leaving him, saying she hoped he died over there so she'd get his money and shit like that. And, you know, I'm tired, man. I was in a hurry. And I was like, man, she ain't getting shit. And I got up and walked out. Hey, man, I got to get some shut-eye, you know. I was in a hurry. And I got out the pit, and he popped himself. And I should have sat there. I should have sat there a little bit longer and understood that he needed to talk and understand that this was a serious fucking situation. But I didn't. I was being too selfish. I wanted to hit the rack. And anyway, I should have stayed around a little bit longer. So in those kind of situations, recognize the importance and perhaps don't be so much in a hurry. Listen. You don't have to talk always, just listen. That's what I would have done, is just stay there a little longer.
I think, and that's the hard part. I think that when people are approached by someone who's at their last, and you can hear it in their voice that they just don't have it in them anymore. Because I've had plenty conversations. You get to yourself in that position of like, you don't know what to say. You don't even know how to act at that moment. Right. And that's the hard part, is you got to try to alleviate the uncomfortableness of that part and try to find what do they need. Sometimes it's just an ear. Sometimes it's just a little bit of some reassurance, or a little bit of a little word or something that's going to, help them process what they're going through. And that's the part when you have to stay still and listen.
So,
right. Sometimes we get caught up and we don't listen.
Why have we not talked about the signs of somebody that wants to commit suicide?
Joe, that leads right with the little one comment I wanted to make. How many times have you heard it in civilian people? Maybe not so much in the veteran community, but certainly in the civilian community. I didn't see any signs. He didn't show us. Isolation. People that are having trouble, sometimes you'll never know the battles they're going through. They got that shine on the outside. He picked up kids from the roller rink, and then they had pizza and stuff.
Well, that's why they call it the silent killer, man. I mean, it's what we don't see.
So what are we looking for, guys? What are we looking for?
So I can tell you when somebody's giving personal shit away for no reason.
Yeah.
Right? Little things, but things that are important to them. Necklaces, watches, hats, shirts, whatever. They're giving you shit away that isn't normal. I mean, you should know this person. You should know this person, right? Because you would know things like that. This is their favorite ball cap, and he's trying to give it to me. Read into it a little bit. Be curious. Don't just be like, yeah, I'll take it, and not even thinking maybe he's reaching or she. Maybe they say shit that catches you off guard. Like, what? Not normal. Be curious. Why did you ask that? I'm not saying that it's always going to work. I'm not saying that that's perfect, but shit is different when it's almost the end, and they know it. They know it. You just got to pick up on it.
You're looking for something that person would never, ever normally do. Like all of a sudden, an E9 from the Marine Corps, Vietnam, Afghan, Iraq, 30 years, E9 starts writing poetry when he comes home. Make sure you check on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just get that random call and they seem somber and just kind of like telling you how they feel and they never reached out to you. You got to ask questions a little bit more. Sometimes there's a little bit more. No, it's all good. There's a little bit more to it. Sometimes you just never know. Like someone reaches out of nowhere to you and you're like, damn, this fool hasn't talked to me in a minute. And they're just like, well, they seem chatty. Like they want to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at that moment you got to realize they're giving you that kind of unspoken, hey, I got something going on.
Right.
And that's the moment you got to start kind of engaging in the conversation and listening a little bit and getting tuned and just find out, hey, are they going through something right now? And it's a little bit of, sometimes through a little bit of some conversation and chopping it up, sometimes that will just all of a sudden sprout out and you're just like, there it is. It is. Now I understand why they hit me up. It just took them a minute. You got to warm it up. You got to preheat the oven. You know what I mean?
Man, I just experienced this probably a month ago. Look, guys, you guys all know in it, but I'm telling the audience, I'm a veteran. I'm disabled. I got fucking problems too. I was going through it really fucking hard. I was having a shit day. My wife was gone. She's visiting our daughter. I'm home all alone in my fucking head, having a shit time. And I guess the message here is we can all do a little bit better because I needed a motherfucker. I needed one. Me, the guy that's always there, right? I needed somebody. And you know what? out of 10 motherfuckers, 1 took the time to ask me how the fuck I was doing. He's sitting right next to me.
And
this is out of everybody I fucking know. I disappeared, man. I fucking disappeared, and not a one motherfucker ever come looking for me. So what I'm saying is we can all do better. Be curious. Think about your fucking people, man. If they come to your mind, they came to your mind for a reason. Fucking ask. That's that shit that we all can do better. And by doing that, that shows that you give a fuck. And when somebody's in their darkest place and one dude says, hey, bro, how you doing? Right? You're not in that dark place anymore because he just showed you his fucking light. Right? Anyway, that's just a personal story that I felt fit right here. We can all do better. And so pick up our games.
I think
man.
there's, I think that intuitions and things are put in our head, and a lot of it's left unsaid.
Yes.
A lot of times we think something, right? And it could be really positive. You're like, gosh, damn, that fool over there's just kicking some ass, man. And you just let it go, right? And maybe that person over there could have used that, hey, you're kicking ass, because maybe someone else doesn't think they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you just gave them that little bit of that little motivation that they needed.
Right.
And sometimes, like I said, you never know why that little thought might be put inside your head. Sometimes, like you're saying, like, why do I, and there's times where I want to give someone, like, if I see someone that, not all the time do I have this where I'm like, damn, I really want to give this person $20 or something, or I want to go buy him a meal. There's sometimes, though, it's just really heavy on my heart that this person is in such a need. Yeah. And I really, I've started to learn how to act on those thoughts. Even like when it comes to my wife, when I'm like, man, she's so beautiful or something, I'll just like, you know what, baby, you're beautiful, or I appreciate you, or, just little things, and like I said, those little nuggets go a long way at the end of the day.
Yeah. I remember getting with the Facebook group, Cannabis Facebook groups, veterans, just hopping on a call a couple times a week, just to hang out with my fellow brothers and sisters, dude. And you guys bust my ass because I'm a corpsman pecker checker, I'm gay and all that stuff, and you bust my balls. I feel so much better after you guys fucking trash me up and stuff. It's like, oh, they do love me. Okay, good. And I go back to it lifts me up, man. Doing Sicko with Doc, same thing, man. Look at I wanted to bring this up, by the way, real quick. I'm forgetting the name because I'm 60 and I smoked weed.
You got that locked up now.
Terry Simmons, one of our guests, Army then Navy. She had 1,500 views on her podcast with us. Her story was amazing. All of our guests that come on are amazing. We need to talk about the guests that come on. We need to talk about. I know some people don't want to come on because they're in a not so good cannabis state. The laws are bad. Some people want to tell their story, but they have a job that they don't want to ever have anybody cross connect that they were cannabis related or what have you. So or my family looks down on it, and somebody in my family might see it or something. So we, as Sicko with Doc, we're battling those kinds of things. So I ask all of us. Go ahead.
We also want to open it up too, like, the show is about holistic healing and trying to get yourself into a approach where you're not harming other parts of your body, trying to make something better. Like, every time you're given some kind of a pill that's meant to help something, you're hurting something else. You're definitely damaging your kidneys, your liver. Our body's just not made to ingest this stuff. A lot of it comes down to just having a deficit in the vitamins, because we don't have a lot of it in our foods anymore. And, I know Joe wanted to start kind of bringing that part into the show. And I think, it's something that you guys may see in the near future, is that we're going to kind of start talking more about some of the things in your body and the imbalances that you may have and it's all due to you might be lacking some kind of a natural, resource or something out there that could be, helping you, and you're taking all these extra pills that are hurting everything else in your body.
Joe, I tell your story all the time, bro, to people, civilians and so what's your podcast? Let me tell you what it's about. And I'll give you an example. I got a buddy named Joe. you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to say this too, man. Remember one of the reasons why we get lost when we come home. Even me as a peacetime corpsman, I felt this. One of the reasons we get lost when we get home is because the mission comes down upon us and we just we're doers. You tell it, we do it, it's done. It's a fucking done deal, right? Nothing stops us from the mission. It comes down to us, and that's what we've been trained, done, do. You get out, and there's purpose to that. You get out, it's gone. There's nothing raining down on top of your head of a mission, and you lose your purpose. And once you lose your purpose, now you're starting down the ladder. Yeah. So if you're a veteran out there and you need purpose, let me give you one real quick. Go down to a soup kitchen and help out. Put on your veteran hat, throw it on backwards, and scoop some food. If you want to have some purpose, go help some veterans. Go to the VA and volunteer pushing people in wheelchairs. Get up because you have a light. You are a fucking veteran. No more killing. No more dying. Done.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
Peter, I would like to do a little shout out to Peter Klinger. He's been a very faithful viewer, listener,
always,
and he's always very active in the comments. So just wanted to give him a special shout out, and we appreciate you, Peter. You by far are probably Sick Call with Doc's #1 fan. I'll go ahead and give him that crown, and you've earned it, bro. We really do appreciate you, brother. We do appreciate you. Always show up. I know if you don't show up, you got something else going on.
Maybe he'll win that raffle at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I'll give a little hint.
One more time.
I'll give a little hint. Uh-oh, what's that?
I think Peter's our man.
What's that? All right. So, man, we should be taking a break, but we don't do that in the live.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, sure as heck can. I got a new podcast coming up, so I can shoot out that real quick, and you guys can get a look-see.
Division doesn't happen by accident. It's engineered, layered into our systems, etched into our history, and sold to us as truth. Divisive Measures is the podcast that pulls back the curtain. Host Brian takes you down the rabbit hole, into the policies, the propaganda, the pain, to ask one question: who profits from keeping us apart? From PTSD to systemic oppression, from inherited trauma to digital echo chambers. This show doesn't flinch. It listens. It questions. It connects. Divisive Measures, premiering July 1st on Spotify. Because the only way out of the divide is through it.
Yeah, so I dropped that podcast last week. The second episode will be dropping tomorrow, and it's just audio only. Something that's been just heavy on my heart is just seeing a lot of division in the country, and it just doesn't seem to fail, no matter what the topic is. Everybody seems to walk away hating each other. There's no more agree to disagree, so to speak. There's a lot of family members, friends that have, cut each other off. They grew up each other. They were high school buddies. And, and then boom, something came along, some topic that tore them up. And so I just went to look into it. And as a matter of fact, I've already recorded like six episodes or something, and the one that I'm kind of working on right now, it's starting to name off names of people that are interested in creating division, and it looks to me like we're just one big players in the scheme of rich people playing games, and I think democracy was one of them. Democracy. We think that we have this democratic system, right? So now you choose red or you choose blue, and you fight against each other about every stinking thing you can think of. And then you start to find out that, hey, these guys that are fighting over each other, their money's invested in something they don't even believe in. And you start to figure out all this stuff. It's just a big game that we're really involved in, and we all start to buy into hate. I saw Peter Klinger talk about that in America. We're buying into hate. And so anyways, I'm not going to go too much on that show, but that's kind of what it's all about.
I'd be careful with that podcast, bro. There might be a letter or an article in the newspaper said Brian Roof committed suicide, 2 gunshot wounds. 2 gunshot wounds to the back.
And that's the scary part about being a veteran, right? They'll be like, you just joined the statistic, right? And and you never know. I mean, I am starting to name drop, and it's okay, because I think that people need to be aware of these players out there and what they're capable of doing. People got foolish money out there, man. I mean, people got real foolish money out there, bro. We don't know what foolish money's like, but there's people out there with foolish, I mean, foolish money, and it's generational wealth, and it's meant to keep only by a certain amount of families. If you get close to that bar, they'll figure out a way to raise it or tax you or do something that hurts you. And with social media, self-made millionaires now who are starting to get, by just sitting on a video and showing off some, hooters, they're making meal. Now they're having to raise the bar higher because there's all these people that don't have to leave their home that are millionaires now.
It kills me when I see this is a reel of a pretty young lady in a tight dress, walking towards me in a video. 54,700 some, and I'm like, we're trying to eradicate veteran suicide. What? And that gets trillions of hits compared to us. It's like, what the fuck is that about? Our society is messed up. You should bring me on that diversity one you got going on, bro. I'll do one side, you do the other. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's I think that everybody has their own perspective and everything. I mean, this is me. When I'm doing it, I am just providing the facts that I'm provided. It's not me leaning towards one way or the other. As a matter of fact, there's certain things that I've had to cover in there that I'm shaking my head no, because I've been so conditioned one way to think, right? So it's hard for me with this podcast. You have to open your mind. You have to think outside the box. You got to be prepared to listen to how others believe and other belief systems, and everybody believes their belief system's the right system. You know what I mean? Right. And someone decided that one person out there was able to dictate all this, and because you got to think, dude, we were all born onto a piece of land. Those fucking things weren't with lines on them or nothing like that. People drew lines and decided this boundary is my boundary. All right, well, fine. My boundary's over here. Well, hey, you know what? I want some more of your boundary. I'm gonna come over there and take some of that. And we just have grown into it. And obviously, from one generation to the next, we're just gonna keep breeding that. And hey, man, this is how it goes. This is red. This is blue. This is the religions. These are we're all indoctrinated. And once you're born into this, whatever culture you're born into, you're going to be indoctrinated into their belief system.
Yep. Yeah.
And so who's right? Who's wrong? You tell me. Catholic, Christian, Hinduism.
I thought about that twice today alone, Brian.
Yeah. You just let me know. Oh, mine is. Everyone that I just named off is sitting there. Mine is.
Yeah, well, guess what? There's no atheist in Foxhole.
Subjective, I think, a little bit, man. I think that we as humans have muddied the lines in general. We take things and we don't know the word modesty. We don't know how to just be cool with this. We got to go way too hard one way or not enough the other way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So to our listeners, anybody who sees this later on, and you
Talking
see
about money, that's
this,
foolish money.
if there's anything you'd like to see us with Sick Cowboy Doc do, something you think, just tonight I got the idea. We've lost 54,000 veterans Iraq and Afghanistan. What if we brought a family on who was one of those 54,000 and we highlight a veteran who committed suicide in their service? Who knows what we can do? We got to inspire. That's how we save veterans. We have to inspire them to get up and realize they're the best, man.
Gold Star families, or just those kind of families, someone who's lost someone or probably good people to hear from, to get a perspective of the outfall from what that creates, because they are a byproduct of it now. And
our mission is to eradicate veteran suicide. It is not to show every single episode how cannabis has created miracles for one single vet. I mean, that's what we decided to do, but we have to bring more. And so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it with Sick Cowboy Doc. We're gonna stop sooner or later. Either we're gonna run out or we're gonna help enough.
One way or the other.
One way or another, it's gonna end. I'd rather end it with bigger numbers. I'd rather end it with bigger numbers alive with us today. I can't imagine being a combat veteran who's like you guys have been through the ringer, and you come home and you went through the ringer and you self-assessed and you became a better man and you figured it out. I couldn't imagine not having one of you. None of us would work without each individual one of you guys. I couldn't imagine you not being here. So we got to figure it out.
We do, and I think that the first place is starting to talk about it, because that's what we've been doing for so long, is suppressing it. Mental health is not new. It is starting to be recognized. And now I just found out there's like 6 different forms of PTSD, 6 types. And then every single one of those has some kind of a symptom, attached to it. So, I mean, we're really starting, I feel like, mental health is still relatively new in the manner of they're trying to figure it out, because the hard part is, dude, is you got the people that are like crying wolf in a sense, that are basically plugging up the system, and they're not validated. They don't feel like going to work, right? It's just like, I don't feel like going to work. Well, damn, dude. I mean, that's not necessarily a mental health problem. You're being lazy right there. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say, but we have people out there that are taking up people's spots that are just crying wolf, and that's the problem, man. And that's when I say that we as humans, we don't know that in between, we go really overboard, and then that kills it, right? That little minority group of the people that radicalize the shit and go super crazy, kill it for the majority. Mm-hmm. You see it time and time again, radicalization, killing it. And that's the same thing, man.
All I know, man, is whenever I just learned of another Vietnam vet, 70-something years old, finally gave in.
Damn.
It's like a hillbilly throat punch to me. It's just like, fuck. I don't know.
I mean, I know that I guess you get to some point where I've been pretty close in my thoughts, where everything felt like it was just caving in on me. And I'm like, gosh, what do I do? It's a horrible feeling that you're feeling at that moment. The anxiety going through your body, the pacing around, the can't think any straight thoughts. Everything's just, it's like a fucking like a TV going like or someone changing a radio station. You know, you keep hearing the stuff. Kind of that's how it starts to go. I've been there, and I mean, no matter what in life, no matter how good we get, there's always going to be something in our life that can really set us back. But I think the more that you get yourself in a sound place and you're getting yourself in a better place and you work through some of those things, when things start to pile on and happen, you can process through it a lot better. And that freaking crazy ass radio that starts to tune in and you get more clarity at some point in time.
Yeah.
But if you got so much going on, welcome to that radio static and trying to find that station. You know, and that's the relatively, I guess, how I put it is, if you ever went and you know those old school radios and you go do the dial and you hear that, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about because you guys all done it. Maybe some of these younger folks are like, radio with a thing. What are you talking about?
I remember called dials
with a little line with a, you know, you're like,
yeah.
Oh man,
yeah,
hard
man.
to tune them right in. It's hard to tune them in, but once you got it, it stayed there forever.
Yeah, and that's how mental health is sometimes too, man. It's trying to tune in and get yourself where things are clear for you and you can make sense of it. You know,
that's what cannabis does for me, right there.
Yeah, and when things start to bother you and you can't, and you're clusterfucked as soon as something comes into your life, then you know you got too much going on up here. And you got to start learning how do I process and work through some of these things so I don't go 0 to 60 so fast.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of us veterans have that tendency to go 0 to 60 hella fast.
Yeah, without
so whoever's on that other side, they get fucking ran over so fast, you know, because there ain't no stopping. You know, boom. You know, like, oh shit. My kids were definitely victims of me going 0 to 60 many of times.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife, we talked about that recently. My wife and I talked about it recently. What happens for me is without combat, maybe just as a vet, stuff comes in and it comes in and it comes in and it's layering, pressure, layering.
Thank you, Peter.
Hey, Peter, don't leave yet. I think there's something coming. Yeah.
We're about ready to wrap it up. You want to stick around, Peter, just like 5 more minutes.
Yeah, last thought.
Well, except for Doc's talking, it could be a little bit longer. But
I forgot where I was at. Oh, talking to him. So all this, you know, my mom with the stage 4 and this and that and this and that, and her mom, stents, aorta, doctor's appointments, roll smokes, make food, cut grass, do the outdoor, do the garden. It just builds up. And then my wife would be like, honey, do you want to do this? I'm like, no, I don't fucking want to, you know, because I gotta get it off me with her and not do that. Is that what you mean? Is this what you're talking about? Like it's the frustration of the compounding on the shoulder thing. I'm sure all veterans feel that way, especially when they're dealing with their own internal emotions about shit, especially combat guys and girls, you know?
Well, and we have a no sense kind of mentality, right, as well. So our 0 to 60 is like we see someone doing something, we're like, what the fuck is that idiot doing? You know, or you know, right off rip, you know, we just think
doing 40,
you know, even when our kids are doing like, what the hell is that knucklehead doing over there? Like, you know, like, you know, we just have that tendency, man.
All right. Yeah. Hey guys. Eric, it was great to have you back on, brother. What a treat.
Oh, yeah.
Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you, Lori, for taking care of our group.
Hell yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, we can't do it without the listeners out there. And we really appreciate all you guys, you know, and the more that you guys can share this out, the more that we can, you know, shed light onto a topic that's always kind of been taboo, right? And you know, and I think with you know, Joe and Doc, you get some realism, you get, you know, down to earth, you're going to get it raw. And that's the great thing that you get here is, and it's real, raw, real. And these guys care deeply about our brothers and sisters. So do I, and that's why I love being in the background, helping the show try to be as smooth as we can. And
and all this stuff is one take, people. I mean, if
that's
it's
it.
recording, one take, you get it. Whatever we did live, it's different.
Hey, Brian, how much do you edit?
No,
None.
I'm a no editor, right? Yeah.
So-
Everybody always asks that, like, hey, you better get it right if you don't want to be edited, all right? Because I
that
trip
cookie
over
cutter
my
stuff.
words plenty,
That cookie cutter stuff it's not worth it. We're from the cup,
Right.
man, from the heart. You ask a question, we're going to give you an honest, answer. And
I
so
could go
don't
plug
see that.
I could go plug a whole bunch of words into AI if you guys want, perfect, right? We can just have
don't get
AI
that
talk for us now.
It's just straight up love, man. So
No, 100%. And like you said, this doesn't get as real as this is as real as it's ever going to get. And it's a great opportunity for you to come on. You don't got to be some kind of a hero. You didn't even have to be in combat.
No.
We want to hear from caregivers, people that are taking care of their loved ones, and you're using something holistically to help. It doesn't necessarily even have to be cannabis. We're also looking for people out there with those, the shrooms and whatever you may be on that's helping you holistically, and you're not having to go through the VA and be prescribed 20 plus, pills that are killing you. Come on and shoot the email, and we'd love to hear from you guys. And if there's a topic out there that you want these guys to cover, hey, throw out that topic as well, and we'll give you our best shot.
Peter Klinger, did you stay with us?
I don't know if he did.
If you're here, Peter, this is your chance to
He was with us the whole he was with us the whole time. Peter's already a utopic guy. Peter, you just want a one plant set of utopic essential nutrients. You're gonna get a couple of these clips, little low stress training clips. We're gonna get you 3 seeds of Afghani mango photo regulars, and you'll get a couple of these Discover Our Truth stickers, along with the last of them, guy. Peter, you got the last of these. We got a little bit of Elixir of Life. We got a little bit of Far Out Phosphate. And then we got their small little sticker that's got every one of our jugs on it, man. All for you, Peter. Thanks for being here for us all the freaking time, bro. Not
Absolutely.
only this podcast, but other stuff that we do. I know Peter's always there, man. Thank you for being loyal, brother. You're a true brother, man.
And he's much deserving of it, absolutely. And like I said, you could always find him in the comment section. He's always there for us. He's always there to support. So congrats, Peter Klinger. And hey, and it looks like Doc made a commitment. Every live show, he's going to give off something, some kind of something. But you never know with these guys what you're going to get. But for sure, yes, shoot us that email. Let us know you want to be on the show or you want to hear something to be talked about. And once again, we appreciate you guys. You have any last goodbyes? Mr. Moon, thank you so much, brother. We love you, man. And you're another great supporter of the show. And we always see you in the comments as well. I really do appreciate you, not just, for being a guest, man, but, for being a listener as well. Appreciate you, bro.
Well, thanks for all you do, Brian and Doc. Thanks.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely.
Couldn't do it without you guys, man. It's completely, that's the truth. Hey, thanks everybody, man.
Thank you guys.
My heart's full. I appreciate it, man.
We'll see y'all. Till next time.
Later, man.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.